Hey, do you guys see me wearing this mask right here? Do you see me wearing it? Now I know that there's nobody around me, and there's no real reason for me to be wearing it at the time of me recording this video, but I just wanted to remind you that I was wearing the mask, and every time I mention the word mask in the video, I'm gonna hold it up, because I want you guys to see it, because virtue. I know that this is a YouTube video, and it has nothing to do with anything, but if Joe Biden can do it during a presidential debate, then I can do it during a YouTube video. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The main topic, as if the title and thumbnail and title and description of this video and the sources in the description of this video didn't give it away. The second and final presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joseph R. Biden. What does the R stand for? I'll let you decide down in the comments below. Now, before I get into my analysis of this debate, before I break it down in the most intelligent, elegant way humanly possible, so much so that all of you watching will be impressed by my breakdown of this debate, I do have to point out that we are pretty late into the election process. A lot of early voting has gone on, so I don't know, despite the fact that I do think there was a clear winner in this debate, how much is going to be moved by this event. Remember, the second debate was canceled because the Presidential Debate Commission decided that they were going to make it a Zoom debate based on not very much, and President Trump backed out of the Zoom debate because he didn't want to have video screens and that lack of control for a debate. However, with that at the backdrop and the unique circumstances of the mail-in voting and the early voting and the extended early voting noted, I do have to say clearly and obviously that President Trump did a heck of a lot better in this second debate, this final debate, than he did in the first one. He actually let Joe Biden talk, which was one of the biggest problems in the last debate, not because letting your opponent make all their points is a good thing, but because if you're going up against Joe Biden, you definitely want him to speak. And I know that they did the 2-minute thing where they muted the other person's mic while the first person had their 2 minutes to talk, and then they did the same when they switched. But I'm not talking about that. There were points during the course of this debate where it clearly looked like President Trump was ready to interrupt Joe Biden, where he just hesitated. And honestly, for the first half of this debate, he barely interrupted him at all. This changed a little bit later. He started doing the thing where he was asking questions and all that. But even then, it was not as bad as he was in the first debate. And letting Joe Biden talk, it turns out, is the best possible strategy that you can use when debating one Joseph Biden. Because Joseph Biden said that Abraham Lincoln was the most racist president in modern history.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one.
He made a reference to Abraham Lincoln. Where did that come in? I mean,
you said you're Abraham Lincoln.
No, where did that? No.
You said,
I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community.
And I'm saying,
I didn't say I'm Abraham Lincoln. I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community. Now, you have done nothing other than the crime bill, which put tens of thousands of black men, mostly, in jail.
All right. Now, when I was watching this live, I actually had a cutout in the way that I was watching it, and I had to miss this segment initially. So I actually went back, looked for this specific segment, and watched it just as a glance over to make sure before I made this video I wasn't missing anything. And it turns out I'm really glad that I did that, because this was one of the funnier points in the entire debate. Now, there's not really anything substantive here, like Joe Biden wasn't actually saying Abraham Lincoln is the most racist president in modern history. It's just funny and goofy, and it's a Joe Biden funny and goofy moment, and I definitely did appreciate that. Also, I appreciated Joe Biden talking about how Donald Trump told the poor boys that they should stand ready.
He says about the poor boys, last time we were on stage here, he said, I told them to stand down and stand ready. Come on. This guy is a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
Now, aside from the funny moments that I will be sprinkling throughout this video, there were some really good, solid moments by President Trump. The fact that he was playing by the rules of the debate and he wasn't interrupting Joe Biden actually seemed like it threw off everybody that was involved in this engagement, because you had the debate moderator who seemed like they would be ready after watching what Chris Wallace had to go through to engage with Trump throughout the debate. And if you saw her early on in the process, there were a lot of times where Trump had a last couple of words, he was finishing up his sentence, and she jumped all over him and you could barely hear what Trump said. But instead of getting angry, instead of talking over the moderator or going after Joe Biden, Trump was pretty disciplined throughout this debate, and I think that definitely showed. Also, Trump was in command of this entire thing from like a visual body language standpoint. And even with his words, I don't know if he specifically took lessons from Mike Pence's debate performance, but he definitely appropriated the correct amount of stuff from Pence and was able to utilize that throughout the process. Trump was very gracious to the moderator. He very much went out of his way to thank the moderator when he thought she was doing a good job.
And you never asked that question. And by the way, so far, I respect very much the way you're handling this, I have to say.
By the way.
But somebody should ask the question.
And on top of that, there were a number of moments where it seemed like Trump was taking control, something that he tried to do with Chris Wallace, but it just ended up looking like a fight. But here, it seemed more simple or an easier transition to President Trump to basically be the person that was guiding this debate.
Well,
President Trump,
I think we have to respond, if I might.
please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that.
Now, I know this isn't substantive in terms of policy or anything like that, but visually, you have to understand that a lot of undecided voters are going based on the visuals and the presence that they get off of people. In fact, a lot of people pick their candidates based on their body language and how they feel about the candidate, not necessarily the policy, because the general population is just not that engaged in policy. So when you have moments like President Trump saying politely and kindly, go ahead to the moderator, and things like that, it gives the impression that Trump is in charge and Joe Biden just isn't by comparison because he's not doing that. So I think that was really solid, and that's like an intangible portion of the performance that you always want to have on your side that doesn't really amount to anything in terms of policy issues. But I do want to note that because, again, the debates are not necessarily about policy issues. If you're in a high school debate club or a college debate club, you best believe you have to debate the policy. But if you're in a presidential debate, this is all a performance for the TV cameras, and in that respect, President Trump did pretty good. Now, one of the big questions coming into this debate for me was how much Donald Trump was going to try to push the Hunter Biden narrative to Joe Biden's face and how Joe Biden was going to do combating that attack on him and his family. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I'm just going to give you the long and short of it. The New York Post received a copy of a hard drive of a laptop that Hunter Biden dropped off at a repair shop in Delaware, and this contained a lot of questionable looking information, and the New York Post published it. If you're not familiar with this story specifically, you might be familiar with the fact that Twitter, appearingly on behalf of the Joe Biden campaign, actually blocked this link and suspended the New York Post, one of the oldest publications in our country, from Twitter for sharing this. Also, Facebook throttled down this story under the premise that they were going to verify it, even though it appears that the laptop is authentic and Joe Biden hasn't really denied anything related to that. However, that's neither here nor there. The tech censorship is a whole nother story. How Donald Trump was going to present this information in this debate was going to be crucial, because if he tried to do it like the debate 3 weeks ago, where he was going to be overly aggressive and basically try to bully the moderator and Joe Biden into talking about it, making Joe Biden look sympathetic, defending his family, it was going to be an ineffective attack. And honestly, that's what I thought Trump was going to do, because he's basically a bull in a china shop. The man lacks tact. But watching this debate, I was pleasantly surprised about how reserved he was and how almost precise, I hesitate to use that word, when it comes to Donald Trump, he was in bringing this topic up throughout the course of the debate. He definitely was persistent about it, but he wasn't persistent in such a way that he came off as a jerk. And I think that is incredibly important when you're trying to push forward a story that might be new to the general public.
Who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
And that's exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This is
told.
where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay on the issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
Mr.
go
President,
again with Russia.
We're going to continue on the issue of race. Mr.
Now, the culmination of Trump pressing Biden on the laptop and the emails ultimately led Biden to claim that either the laptop or the emails contained within the laptop were somehow part of some kind of Russian disinformation campaign, which is honestly the best possible result Trump could have possibly asked for. You see, up until this point, because the media is on Joe Biden's side and all the social media companies are on Joe Biden's side, he hasn't really been pressed on this, and he hasn't given an answer about the Hunter Biden laptop and the emails associated with it. But now, on the debate stage, in front of the world to see, Joe Biden said that this laptop is part of a Russian disinformation campaign. The laptop or the emails, again, he wasn't clear. Meaning that if this is authenticated, or if somebody else within the Biden family, when confronted, or Joe Biden later, says that the emails are authentic, or the laptop is authentic, then that's Joe Biden lying and invoking Russia conspiracy theories in order to cover up the behavior of his son. This is a great avenue for Trump to attack him with, because you needed Joe Biden to take a position on this issue in order for this issue to gain a foothold, because he was either going to deny it or confirm it. Either way, you want him on record for something, and him saying that it's debunked based on the fact that Twitter and Facebook censored it for him is just not good enough. Now he has a position on it. Either the emails, again, or the laptop, he wasn't clear, are part of a Russian disinformation campaign, according to Joseph Biden. If that is proven to not be the case before the election, Joe Biden's a liar, and he blames the Russians for stuff that actually happened in his family's background. That's fantastic. Now, there is something that I do want to pat myself on the back a little bit for, because I pointed it out throughout the Democratic primary process, that Joe Biden's dementia and all these things were not going to play a big factor in his campaign going forward. Now, I know Biden doing the basement thing has basically prevented him from doing a lot of interviews, but the thing that really tipped me off that he was going to do pretty okay in these debates in terms of stumbles and bumbles was him debating Bernie Sanders one-on-one. And what my theory was, based on his performance against Sanders, which was actually really good, was that the distraction of the crowd in the debate and having a bunch of people on stage was negatively impacting him and his stutter. We knew Biden had stuttering issues, and we know he is in fact old, so it was making it difficult for him to follow everything that was going on, which made him come off like his brain was mush more than it actually is. But now we've seen him do 3 debates, and although he did have stumbles and bumbles in this debate, all 3 of them, when there was no crowd or very small crowd and just the moderator and another candidate, Biden's been able to keep it together. And I said that this would not play out as a big issue during this debate and the other debate, and I've been proven correct in that. However, there was a moment I do want to point out where Joe Biden actually started a sentence, fell off the cliff, and then bailed out and restarted. And I'm going to play that for you because it was in fact funny.
I'd make it clear, which we were making clear to China, they had to be part of the deal, because here's I made it clear, and as a spokesperson of the administration when I went to China, that they said, why are you moving your missile defense up so close? Why are you moving more forces here? Why are you continuing to do
So Biden overall has been fine. This performance was okay. Again, I'm not rating him on whether or not I agree with him or not. I'm not rating him on whether or not I think things that he said were accurate or were policies that I actually support. I'm rating him on how somebody who's really undecided, that doesn't really follow politics, might react to watching this. I do think Trump definitely outdid him in this debate, and there were 2 key moments I have yet to highlight that were my absolute favorite parts during the course of this debate. And the first was just a powerful kind of boss move. Again, a lot of these debates are about body language and about presence more than substance, because when you're on television, as proven as far back as the radio debate with Kennedy and Nixon versus the television debate, the style and the presentation matters a lot more than the substance. And that first one was Trump saying the reason he ran for president back then was because of Obama and Biden, because they were in office that compelled him to serve. I think that was an incredibly powerful and kind of a boss moment in the debate, and Biden didn't really have a good response for that, which is weird because the obvious response for that was, I didn't run in 2016 because I had served as vice president, but when I saw you get elected, that's when I knew I had to come out and fix this. But Biden didn't give that response, so Trump got the win there.
But why didn't he do it 4 years ago? Why didn't you do that 4 years ago, even less than that? Why didn't you
I
do it?
am
You were
not-
vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do, and you're going to do this. But you were there just a short time ago, and you guys did nothing.
We did.
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of Barack Obama, because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician. I ran because of you.
All right, Vice President Biden, your response to that, and then I do have some questions for both of you.
Well, I tell you what, I hope he does look at me, because what's happening here is, you know who I am.
But my absolute favorite moment, even better than Abraham Lincoln is the most racist president in our modern history, was Trump calling out Joe Biden, Chris Christie and Marco Rubio style.
My response is, look, this isn't about, there's a reason why he's bringing up all this malarkey. There's a reason for it. He doesn't want to talk about the substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family. And your family's hurting badly. If you're making less than, if you're a middle-class family, you're getting hurt badly right now. You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning deciding, well, we can't get new tires for the ball because we have to wait another month or so. Or are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? Or who's going to tell her she can't go back to community college? They're the decisions you're making in the middle-class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont. They're in trouble. We should be talking about your families, but that's the last thing he wants to talk about.
I want to talk about North Korea. I do want to turn to 10 seconds, Mr. President.
That's
10
a
seconds.
typical political statement. Let's get off this China thing, and then he looks, the family, around the table, everything. Just a typical politician when I see that.
Let's talk about
I'm not
North
a typical
Korea now.
politician.
Okay,
That's why I got
President
elected.
Let's
get off the subject of China. Let's talk around, sitting around the table.
All right.
Come on, Joe, you can do better.
We're going to talk about...
This is really good stuff, and honestly, this would have helped Donald Trump so much more had he done it in the first debate rather than this debate, because he's calling out Joe Biden accurately for a very politician maneuver. When you're talking about a topic and you don't want to talk about it, your consultants tell you to pivot to something that gives you like a strength, like an issue you're proud of, or something that sounds empathetic. Ted Cruz used to do this all the time, and Trump not only calls out this tactic, but he actually imitates some of the motions that Joe Biden does and talks about him looking in the camera and say, look at the dinner table that you're sitting across. I'm talking to the American people sitting at the dinner table in their living room. The American people in the dinner table in their living room. Let me put my hands like this and look directly in the camera, because that screams empathy. And it's like I'm looking at you and I'm at your dinner table because I'm Joe Biden. And this is an empathetic thing, even though I'm not saying anything of substance. I'm just trying to connect with you in the most superficial way. This was critical to call out because Joe Biden uses this trick multiple times throughout these debates, and it would have been great if Trump would have hit him on this maybe the second time that he did it in the first debate, so you take that tool away from him. And it also creates an image in people's minds of Joe Biden going to this maneuver anytime there's a question asked that he doesn't want to be asked. So I think this was fantastic, and as funny as some of the other moments were throughout the debate, this was my favorite moment in the debate because strategically, I think it's the most sticking point in the debate. A lot of people are going to focus on the Lincoln thing and make jokes about it. That doesn't matter. That's fodder for Twitter. But some of the things that people remember is that when Joe Biden does this and he's like, I'm going to talk about your dinner table, he's dodging the question. And it's a politician's move straight out of the handbook to dodge the question. Excellent job by Trump here. Probably his best moment of this debate by far, or definitely his best moment if this was in the last debate by far. A+, first class, all the way. Now, just to end this on a bit of a negative note, because yes, I am that kind of a guy, I do want to point out that a big mistake by Donald Trump was not pressing Joe Biden on Supreme Court packing, even though Joe Biden gave a lukewarm answer on the issue like the day before the debate. This was a winning issue for him. He didn't bring it up. Nobody brought it up. I don't know why. The Supreme Court is incredibly important to our government, but I guess that was an irrelevant issue to press Joe Biden on. Again, the media doesn't press Joe Biden on the important issues. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Did you like the debate? Did you hate it? Did you think Biden won or Trump won? All of the thoughts, just put them there. You guys know what to do. Subscribe for more content, like, share, blah, blah, blah. Social media links, support links in the description. Till next time.